So how exactly did I get fat? That's a good question. You know, I think a lot of times when you become an overweight person, a lot of times you try to search for the answers, and there's a lot of, you know, questions of why me? Why am I like this? I've heard so many excuses for why people are fat. I've heard that you are big boned. I have heard, well, my mom was fat, my grandmother was fat, my great-grandmother was fat, so I'm fat. That's just the way that I was born. I've heard people talk about metabolism and being too slow and, you know, all these genetic faults and things of that nature. And while a lot of that may be absolutely true, the other like 60% is food. And we just need to admit it. My relationship with food is very on again, off again. It is the worst roller coaster ride in the history of roller coasters. It is the worst Katy Perry hot and cold relationship you could ever imagine. Growing up, I was always a little bit bigger, but when I look at pictures, I realized that I wasn't fat. I wasn't fat at all. Like, I grew taller than most of the girls in my class, so I was a little bit taller than everybody, and I kind of grew into myself before a lot of the other girls, and so I got labeled mostly by boys. It was always boys that picked on me, of being the fat girl and being the big girl, and a lot of it came about when I was in like the 6th grade. At that point, I was like, well, why am I so big and why is no one else? And, you know, that's when you start getting like the dieting notion in your head, like I need to start dieting or I need to watch what I'm eating. And the worst thing you could possibly do is stop eating. And I think that's the beginning of my downward spiral. Like, I never ate breakfast. And I know they're always like, oh, the breakfast is the most important meal of the day. They're actually really, like, there's a lot of truth to that. And I would never eat breakfast. I would go to school without breakfast, and then when it came time to lunch, I would always have a real reasonable lunch because I was in the cafeteria and people were watching me. But then as soon as I got home, I would eat whatever I could, and then we'd have dinner, and then I would usually like sneak snacks afterwards. And so a lot of my bulk of my eating was really late at night. And any girl who's been on a diet, which is pretty much every girl, you know, eating really late at night is not the best thing. So it started like this kind of cycle that could really be compared to like a compulsive eater. And I've you know, thrown myself into that category sometimes when I'm trying to like explain why I'm the way I'm in, and I'm like, oh, I'm a compulsive eater. And I think to an extent I am, but I guess I'm not really quite sure exactly what a compulsive eater is, so I can't really classify myself into that category until maybe I'm better educated about what it is. And still, even to this day, a lot of my food relationship is off and on. I have a really crazy work schedule. I work weekends, and on the weekends I'm on an overnight shift. Like, I work in the middle of the night while everyone else is asleep, and so I wake up at, you know, 9 o'clock at night and have breakfast. And then by the time 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. rolls around, I'm eating my lunch. And then, you know, 8 a.m. I'm going to be eating my dinner, and then depending on when I go to sleep, you know, I'm trying to tone down my eating when everyone else is eating a lot. And then also, because of the nature of my work, it's really easy to miss meals. It's easy to get so wrapped up in what you're doing and, you know, the energy of what's going on and just the busyness of it all that, you know, I'll have my breakfast, but then I can go the entire day without eating and never notice it because I'm just busy. And even though, you know, my body may be hungry, like, it's not a top priority on my brain's list at the moment, so I just don't notice. So, you know, I think a lot of my relationship with food now is a planned out sort of you have to know thing, and I hate that. It's like one of the big things that I hate about dieting is that you have to constantly be aware of what you're doing and what you're putting into your body. But I think that, you know, I can reach a happy medium about, you know, just making sure you're always going to have breakfast, no matter if it's a protein shake with a fiber bar. You are always going to have breakfast, and you are always going to eat no matter what. I know this may have been a hard topic for some of us, and I think it's a good thing, because I know me personally, I don't like talking about food. And it's easy for me to do it right now because literally I'm in this little room by myself just talking, and I don't actually have to see you guys. Today I want to know kind of what your experience is with food, and maybe if you have any like food tips. If you have any food tips, you know, make a video, post it as a video response. You know, give us some advice on maybe ways that you were able to live a healthy lifestyle, because I want to know. I want to say happy birthday to Clary. I think your birthday is coming up next week, so happy birthday and happy anniversary to Liz and me. It is our 1 year on this channel.